Okay, what we're going to do for the sake of timing, Annette, I'm going to give you this tape because we have several important hearings where Tom was instrumental in pushing the State Department to do the right thing. This hearing was the first one done with the Senate and the House, was 6 hours long, 1990, the first time the issue of Kosovo was brought to the United States Congress. It was an incredible hearing. And here he is, chairman of the founder and co-chairman of the Congressional Human Rights Caucus, with many senators, many House members. All right, Annette? Well, she's really moved by seeing this, I know, and let's give Annette a hand here.
By the way, we should let you know that Annette is the president of the Lantos Foundation. She's been carrying on the work, and a lot of people don't realize the Caucus on Human Rights, in the Congress. She was as much a factor in that, in its development and evolution as Tom was. So please, we recognize you and we thank you. She's also was rescued by Raoul Wallenberg. She is one of the people who was rescued.
I didn't quite expect this, and I still haven't gotten over losing my husband, so you have to excuse me. But anyway, I'm honored to join you today in commemorating the 100th anniversary of Albanian independence, as well as remembering the remarkable story of the Albanian courage and decency during the Holocaust, of which, as some of you may know, my husband was the only survivor of the Holocaust ever elected to the Congress of the United States, and we are both, of course, survivors. So this is particularly important for us. Albania is notable and unique among all the nations of Europe, both in saving every Albanian citizen of Jewish heritage and offering refuge to thousands more who fled the Nazi death machine and found safety in this corner of Europe. It is truly a story that should and must be much more widely acknowledged. And I want to express my appreciation to Shirley and Joe, who has done more than anyone except perhaps her husband Joe, to ensure that this inspiring piece of history is known. In our day, stories of cooperation and rescue among Muslims and Jews are few and far in between. But during the years that Albania was occupied by the German Nazi forces, such courageous rescues by both Muslims and Christians happened throughout the Albanian nation. All parts of Albanian society participated in this noble effort, from the peasantry to the intellectual elite. And in doing so, they were living out the age-old Albanian code of honor, known as Besa, I hope I pronounced it right, which commands both religious tolerance and providing shelter and sustenance and protection to all guests who come seeking it. Remarkably, the story of Albania's heroic Holocaust rescue was repressed and buried during the nearly 50 years of brutal Stalinist dictatorship. And were it not for the leadership of Congressman Joe DioGuardi and my late husband, Congressman Lantos, it might never have come to light. In 1990, these two trailblazing freedom fighters traveled to Albania, the first US officials to visit the country in half a century. As you know, my late husband was the only Holocaust survivor ever to serve in Congress, and Hoxha's successor, the dictator Ramiz Alia, to burnish his standing with the US government by presenting my husband with a never-before-seen archives containing letters, photographs, newspapers, and clippings documenting the story of Albanians who have saved Jews during the Second World War. Congressman DioGuardi sent these precious files to Yad Vashem in Israel, where they were carefully researched and authenticated. And in 1995, Tom joined forces with our dear friend, Congressman Ben Gilman, to work with the US Memorial Holocaust Museum to successfully have Albania added to the Righteous Among the Nations section in the museum. I would like to say a word about a man we all know and admire, Joe DioGuardi, and his wonderful wife, Shirley. They have been something of George Washington to the Albanian American community. For over 3 decades, Joe has helped them to find their voice and to channel their political passion to work for Albanian freedom and democracy. Tom loved and admired Joe, and although they came from different political parties, they often stood shoulder to shoulder in standing up to expose the evils of communism and to work to advance democracy and human rights for the repressed people around the world. It is a real pleasure for me to be here with him and with Shirley today, and I would like to ask all of you to join me in a round of applause for Joe and Shirley for their tremendous service to the cause of freedom and justice. Tom would often close his speeches by reminding his audience, the veneer of civilization is paper thin. We are its guardians, and we can never rest. Today, we are proudly and reverently remembering those who took their responsibility to guard civilization as a profound moral duty and were prepared to sacrifice everything, including their lives, to fulfill this obligation. May we take seriously our responsibility to tell their story and draw inspiration from their example. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're going to give you that tape to put in the archives before you leave. God bless you. Okay. You want to take a picture? Yeah.